Your emergency fund has a finish line. Almost nobody tells you where it is. So you either stop far too early or you never stop at all. The line is 12 months of your essential expenses, not your salary, not your income. 12 months of what it actually costs to keep your life running. In the next 10 minutes, I'm giving you the 5 rungs to that line and the one thing that changes at each one. You do not have to get there this year. You do not have a savings problem. You have a finish line problem. Rung 1. 1 month of essentials. Start with 1 month of essentials. Not 1 month of income. 1 month of the things you cannot skip. And that's rent, utilities, food, insurance, transport, minimum debt payments. To find it, pull 3 months of your statements and mark every essential. Average the 3 months. Add 5% for the months that run hot. A family on $6,000 a month usually lands near $3,800. That is a number this whole ladder is built on, and it's the only one you have to calculate. Here's what changes the day you have it. The $200 surprise stops going on a card. The tire, the school trip you forgot, the vet, none of those are emergencies. They only felt like emergencies because there was nothing behind them. 1 month does not make you safe. It makes you calm on a Tuesday. And that is the rung almost everybody skips because it feels too small to bother with. Your turn. Before rung 2, tell me in the comments which rung you are standing on right now. 1, 3, 6, 12, or not yet on the ladder. I read them all and the answers are the reason this video exists. Rung 2, 3 months. 3 months of essentials is the number most of the internet gives you. It is not wrong. It is just not the end. 3 months funds a job search. Here's what changes. Losing your job stops being the thing you cannot say out loud. You get to look for the right role instead of taking the first one. 3 months buys you a choice you did not have at 0. At $3,800 a month, 3 rungs is about $11,500. Not a fortune, just enough that a bad phone call stops being a countdown. But 3 months is built for one thing going wrong in a calm year. It does not cover a medical crisis. It does not cover 2 problems landing in the same quarter. That is why 3 months is a floor and not a target. Rung 3, 6 months. 6 months is where the system stops being fragile. 1 thing going wrong was survivable at 3. 2 things going wrong at the same time was not. At 6 months, the car and the boiler can break in the same months and the plan holds. What changes here is quieter and bigger than it sounds. You stop making decisions at speed. Panic is not a personality trait. It is what happens when the runway is short. Lengthen the runway and the panic goes with it. 6 rungs on that same base is about 23,000. It is the first point where you stop checking the balance before you answer the phone. If you're new here, this channel builds one family money system at a time in steps you can finish in one evening. Subscribing means the next piece finds you. Here's where people push back. You are thinking 12 months of essentials is 40,000 and I'm nowhere near it. You are right. Most families are not near it. That is exactly why the rungs matter more than the number. Nobody climbs 12 months in a year, and nobody should try. You're not being asked to sprint to the top. You are being asked to know which rung you are on. 1 rung at a time is not slow progress. It is the only kind that holds. If this is useful, a like helps other parents find it. That is the only ask. Rung 4, 12 months, the real number. 12 months of essentials has a name. The real number. 3 months funds a job search. 12 months funds a recovery. 3 months means panic decisions. 12 months means choices. And at 12 months, the thing you own stops being an emergency fund. It becomes a war chest. And a war chest is not an emergency fund. An emergency fund reacts. A war chest lets you act. Here's the change, and it is the biggest one on this ladder. The job of your next dollar changes. Below the line, every dollar you save is protecting what you already have. Above it, the next dollar has nothing left to protect, so it goes to work instead. That is the moment saving becomes building, and it only happens once the net is actually full. On the same base, 12 months is about 46,000. One condition before that switch, and it is not optional. Toxic debt goes first. You do not invest around a debt that is charging you more than the market pays. Debt gone, net full, then the growth engine starts. That order is the whole design. Why I trust a number over a feeling. Years ago, I read Benjamin Graham's The Intelligent Investor, and it became my anchor. The idea that stayed with me was margin of safety. You do not build a buffer because you predict the crash. You build it because you cannot. That is the whole reason the real number is a number and not a feeling. A feeling never tells you when to stop. 12 months does. Rung 5, above the line. Now the part almost nobody talks about. What happens when you go past 12 months and keep going? Most parents do because nobody drew the line. So more always felt safer. Above the real number, money stops being safety. It becomes a drag. It is not doing nothing. It is quietly losing to inflation and tax while it waits for an emergency that is already covered. So the fifth change is the one the whole video is named after. The chase ends. The overflow gets a new job. It goes to the growth, where the time can actually work on it. You are not being reckless. You are being finished. And if the balance keeps climbing past the line every month, that is information. It means the transfer is set too high for a job that is already done. Lower it and send the difference where it can grow. There's a version of safe that is actually just stuck. And that is what going past the line quietly buys you. Go back to the number you had in your head when this started. Whatever it was probably a feeling with a currency sign in front of it. Now it is a rung with a number under it and a next step after it. Here's the change that matters more than any of the 5. Money stops being a monthly verdict on how you're doing. It becomes a position on a ladder that you can see and move up, and on purpose. That is what ending the chase actually feels like. Not richer, just done deciding. The families I have watched get this right were never the ones who saved hardest. They were the ones who knew when to stop. There are 5 rungs. 1 month and the small surprise stops being a crisis. 3 months and a job loss stops being unspeakable. 6 months and 2 things can go wrong at once. 12 months, the real number and your next dollar changes jobs. Past 12 and the chase is over because the overflow goes to work. Tonight, do one thing only. Work out 1 month of your essentials, not your income, your essentials. That single number tells you which rung you are on, and it takes about 20 minutes at your kitchen table. You're not behind. You were handed a target with no finish line and then blamed for still running. If you want the page already laid out, the first brick is free and the link is below. And if you want the method that finds your real number properly, watch your emergency fund mass is wrong next. I'll see you there.